If you are still trading time for money in an AI economy, you are not just behind, you are being replaced. Welcome to AI Market Mint.
Turn AI into income. Turn knowledge into freedom. Your digital HQ for smart wealth creation.
Listen, the anger in the market right now is, it's completely palpable.
Yeah, you can really feel it.
You definitely can, because people followed the exact blueprint society handed them.
Yeah.
They went into severe debt to secure a degree, expecting this guaranteed return on their investment. And I look at this today and just see pure catastrophic misallocation. I mean, look, I spent $50,000 on a marketing degree, and today a $20 a month language model writes better copy than I ever could.
It's true.
You are holding on to a rapidly depreciating asset. If your entire career right now relies on basic, cognitive execution, you are getting priced out of the global market right now.
You're absolutely right about the anger. I mean, it's entirely valid. People are sitting there staring at their monitors, watching an automated system execute like a week of their highly specialized work in about 14 seconds.
Yeah, 14 seconds. It's brutal.
It is. It's a terrifying realization when you've anchored your entire identity to being a skilled copywriter or a sharp junior analyst. Then, almost overnight, that specific skill is commoditized.
Totally commoditized.
Available to literally anyone with an internet connection and a basic prompt. But, and this is crucial, panic is a disastrous investment strategy. Your degree isn't dead. Your methods are.
Hold on, you're telling me a marketing degree isn't totally useless right now? Because from where I sit, if I'm holding a piece of paper that says I know how to write SEO blogs, that paper is practically worthless.
The execution layer is worthless, yes, but the foundational knowledge isn't.
Okay.
The degree proved you had the discipline to learn complex systems, the psychology of marketing, understanding human desire, positioning, market gaps. That blueprint is still incredibly valuable. Right. The fatal error is stopping the learning process the moment you graduate. A university degree today is essentially a receipt for an outdated transaction. You bought 4 years of isolated theoretical knowledge.
Which the market does not care about.
Exactly. The market only pays for applied, scalable problem solving. Right now, a traditional junior accountant or like a mid-level marketing manager is just an expensive, slow biological algorithm.
I'll go a step further. For 5 specific degrees, that speculative bet has officially gone bust.
Yeah.
Marketing, general computer science, basic finance, human resources, and graphic design. If your core value proposition is just processing standard information in those fields, you are fundamentally bankrupt.
Wow.
You're holding a stock that has gone to zero, and you're just praying the market suddenly decides to value it again, and it won't.
It won't. And businesses really don't care about your tuition loans. They care about efficiency, and they care about profit margins.
Exactly.
If an agency can replace 5 junior designers with 1 AI director and boost their margins by 40%, they will execute that immediately. It is malicious. It's just the natural evolution of capital. People feel betrayed because they treated traditional education as an insurance policy. But education was never insurance.
Never. To understand why millions of incredibly smart people are currently trapped in this execution layer, you really have to look at the machinery that built the trap in the first place.
Right, the system itself.
Exactly. The modern university system was designed exclusively for the industrial age. It was built as an assembly line to produce compliant, specialized workers who could slot perfectly into rigid corporate hierarchies.
Yeah, you learn one specific function, you perform that function repeatedly, you get paid a predictable salary.
And that worked.
It worked incredibly well when information was scarce and distribution was heavily gatekept.
But information isn't scarce anymore. I mean, it's essentially free, yet the universities are still operating as if they hold a monopoly on knowledge.
They really are.
They are charging premium luxury prices for a free commodity, funding the entire charade with massive high-interest student debt. And the corporate world was entirely complicit in this setup.
Oh, totally.
For decades, human resource departments used college degrees as a lazy filtering mechanism. It was just a proxy for basic competence. Parents telling their kids that a safe degree is the only path to wealth. They are handing out financially toxic advice.
It really is toxic. The historical parallel here is the transition from physical labor to mechanical operation. The person who dug the ditch manually eventually got replaced by the person driving the excavator.
Yep.
Now, the person writing the standard code is getting replaced by the person directing the AI that writes the code. AI has broken the degree proxy completely.
Mm-hmm.
A portfolio of automated systems built by a 19-year-old is vastly more impressive than a generic business degree from a mid-tier university.
Mm-hmm.
The market is aggressively correcting the inefficiency.
Wait, Ollie, credential arbitrage sounds technical. What does that actually mean for a normal person?
Simple. It just means exploiting the gap between what a piece of paper says you know and what you can actually do. Imagine it like buying a VIP pass to a concert, only to realize the VIP section is empty and the real party is happening out in the parking lot.
That is a perfect way to look at it. The degree is the empty VIP pass.
Yeah.
The actual value creation is happening completely outside the traditional structures. People who understand how to chain AI models together are bypassing the traditional gatekeepers entirely. The gatekeepers are obsolete.
And if you're still trying to dig the ditch manually with your specialized degree, you're going to starve. The economic system doesn't reward physical or cognitive effort anymore. It rewards leverage.
Yes, leverage.
But here's what fascinates me. The reason so many brilliant people are getting crushed right now isn't a lack of intelligence. It's a massive biological flaw in human psychology.
We are biologically wired for linear thinking. That's the flaw. We expect progress to move in a straight, predictable line step by step.
Mm-hmm.
But we are living in an exponential reality where capabilities double and then double again in compressing timeframes.
And that cognitive bias is the silent killer of wealth. People look at an AI tool today and say, oh, it makes mistakes, it hallucinates, it can't match authentic human creativity.
Right, they dismiss it.
They judge the technology as a static entity. And frankly, human ego is a massive financial liability here.
It absolutely is. They completely fail to comprehend the trajectory of improvement. Look at a fictional example that represents exactly what's happening across the corporate landscape right now.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's look at Rahul. Rahul is a senior graphic designer at a mid-sized advertising agency. He spent 6 years mastering complex design software. He knows every keyboard shortcut, every color theory nuance, every layout principle.
A real expert.
20,000 hours of his life went into this.
Right, and 2 years ago, when the first image generators launched, Rahul openly laughed at them. The hands on the generated images had 7 fingers. The text in the background was absolute gibberish. Rahul felt completely secure. He leaned heavily into his confirmation bias to soothe his ego.
Yep.
He actively sought out examples of the AI failing just to reassure himself that his hard-earned skills were irreplaceable.
He told all his colleagues that true art requires a human soul, and clients would never accept machine output. Meanwhile, the models were iterating relentlessly. They weren't improving linearly, adding one feature at a time. They were compounding.
And kept to today, Rahul's agency uses an advanced AI pipeline to generate thousands of highly targeted ad variations in minutes. Rahul isn't designing anything from scratch anymore. He's just doing basic quality control. His salary has been permanently capped, and his leverage within the company is completely gone.
It's gone.
The agency owner realized he didn't need a team of expensive designers. He needed one editor and a premium API subscription. And just to be clear for everyone, when you say a premium API, you just mean a paid connection that lets the agency software talk directly to the AI, right?
Exactly. An API is just a digital bridge. It lets their internal systems request images from the AI automatically without a human clicking anything. The business owner pays a fraction of a cent per image instead of $80 an hour for a designer.
Wait, Lily, exponential discounting sounds technical. What does that actually mean for a normal person?
Simple. It just means our brains aggressively ignore massive future risks or rewards because we only focus on the immediate present. Imagine it like standing on a beach, watching a tsunami form on the horizon, but refusing to move because your feet currently feel dry.
Rahul's feet felt dry. He discounted the future wave because the immediate threat seemed slightly flawed. This is exactly how entire careers are wiped out in a matter of months.
Yeah.
People desperately cling to the illusion of specialized superiority. They anchor their self-worth to their current capabilities rather than their capacity for adaptability.
It's the sunk cost fallacy amplified by human ego. Rahul spent 20,000 hours becoming an absolute expert. His brain fundamentally refuses to accept that those 20,000 hours have been commoditized.
Right.
So he fights the tool instead of learning to pilot it. It becomes defensive, slow, and expensive to the business. And businesses ruthlessly eliminate defensive, slow, and expensive assets.
You cannot let emotion dictate your career decisions. You are essentially a business of one. You have a personal balance sheet. If your primary asset is depreciating rapidly, you must acquire a new one.
Absolutely.
Let's strip away the theory entirely and look at the brutal mathematics of this transition. The financial mechanics of a traditional path simply do not work anymore.
Let's break down the raw numbers. Let's outline scenario A, the traditional path. You take out a standard student loan for $80,000 to get a degree in marketing or general finance.
Ouch.
You are paying 6 to 8% interest on that capital immediately. You also spend 4 years out of the full-time workforce earning close to nothing.
That's your massive opportunity cost. Over those 4 years, you aren't just losing out on potential salary, you're missing out on 4 years of compound interest if that money had been deployed into productive assets.
Exactly.
And much worse, you're paying interest on a depreciating asset. The technical knowledge you're buying is losing market value every single semester you sit in that lecture hall. By the time you finally graduate, your debt has compounded, and your entry-level salary expectations have been completely crushed by automation.
So you graduate with $90,000 in total debt, landing a corporate job that pays roughly $60,000 a year. You think you've succeeded because you followed the rules. But let's look at W-2 income.
The worst kind.
It is the most heavily penalized money in the current system. After federal taxes, state taxes, and high inflation eating away at your purchasing power, your actual take-home pay is roughly $42,000.
Wow.
You're mandated to pay $600 a month just to service the student debt. You have zero free cash flow. You can't invest heavily. You can't take entrepreneurial risks. You're financially trapped.
Now look at scenario B. You skip the specialized degree entirely, you take $10,000 of that capital and invest it directly into high-level AI skill acquisition, API access, and building a public project portfolio. You deploy the remaining $70,000 into a low-cost S&P 500 index fund. You spend the next 4 years aggressively building automated systems for local businesses instead of writing academic papers.
Say, Nolly, the cost of capital sounds technical. What does that actually mean for a normal person?
Simple. It just means the price you pay to use someone else's money or the wealth you lose by not investing your own. Imagine it like renting a car. You have to pay a daily fee whether you drive it or let it sit in the driveway.
Exactly. In scenario A, your cost of capital is actively destroying your wealth. You're renting expensive money to buy obsolete information.
Right.
In scenario B, your capital is working aggressively for you. Over those 4 years, that $70,000 invested in the market at an average 8% return grows to roughly $95,000. You didn't do anything. The market did the heavy lifting.
And instead of starting your professional career at 22 with massive debt, you start with nearly $100,000 in liquid assets. Furthermore, you spent those 4 years mastering AI tools, workflow automation, and systems architecture.
Yes.
You enter the modern market not as a begging junior employee, but as an operational multiplier.
And the tax implications between these two paths are honestly staggering. When you operate as an AI-leveraged solopreneur or a consultant, you access an entirely different section of the tax code.
Exactly.
You're legally deducting your software costs, your hardware, your internet, your home office space. You're utilizing pre-tax dollars to build your digital infrastructure.
It's a huge advantage.
The traditional W-2 employee gets taxed before they even see the paycheck, and then they pay the silent inflation tax on whatever's left in their bank account.
You cannot outwork compound interest, and you absolutely cannot outwork a machine that operates 24/7 for fractions of a penny.
No, you can't.
This is the brutal truth. If it costs a major AI company 3 cents to write a standard marketing brief, your value as a brief writer is exactly 3 cents. You can't walk into an office and charge $50 an hour for a 3-cent task. The market will laugh you out of the room.
Which is why you have to step out of the execution layer entirely. You must move into the capital allocation layer or the system design layer immediately. You use the AI to generate the raw output, and you use your human judgment to allocate that output where it generates the highest financial return.
We need to look directly at the real-world consequences of ignoring this math, because there are 2 distinct timelines forming right now in the global economy.
Yeah.
They're diverging rapidly, and you are actively choosing one of them with every single decision you make today. Let's examine the timeline of denial first.
Okay. This is the path where you insist your expensive degree is still a protective shield. You refuse to integrate AI into your daily workflow because you think it's cheating, or, you assume it's just a passing fad.
A lot of people think that.
They do. You keep applying for standard mid-level corporate roles using a standard text-heavy resume. On this path, your professional reality gets very grim. very fast.
Within 36 months, you start noticing fewer callbacks from recruiters. The roles you used to easily secure are suddenly demanding dual or triple competencies.
Right?
They want a graphic designer who can also code Python scripts or an HR manager who can build automated predictive onboarding models. You can't compete with these expectations, so what happens?
You fall behind.
You're forced to accept lower-tier work. You find yourself competing on freelance platforms against a global workforce that is fully utilizing AI to lower their prices.
It's a race to the bottom. Your hourly rates plummet. You're working twice as many hours just to maintain your current lifestyle.
And then inflation hits.
Exactly. Inflation quietly eats away at your grocery budget and your housing costs. Debt begins to accumulate rapidly. You start relying heavily on credit cards to bridge the gap between your declining income and your fixed expenses. The financial stress bleeds directly into your personal life. You become completely economically irrelevant.
But there's a second timeline available right now, the timeline of rapid adaptation. On this path, you accept the harsh truth immediately. You realize the degree was just a stepping stone, and you aggressively pivot your skill stack today.
Right.
You stop calling yourself a copywriter, an accountant, or a designer. You become a systems architect.
But how does someone with a sociology or marketing degree become a systems architect overnight? I mean, it sounds intimidating.
It's just a mindset shift. You aren't coding from scratch. You learn exactly how to string together existing language models, automation software, and raw data pipelines. You walk into a traditional business and say, I can reduce your operational friction by 60% within 3 weeks. You are no longer selling your hours. You're selling tangible outcomes.
On this timeline, businesses happily pay you massive premiums because you're directly impacting their bottom line. You gain total location independence and time freedom. You're directing the machines instead of racing against them. Your wealth accumulates rapidly because you're generating high-margin revenue and deploying that surplus capital into income-producing assets. You build a permanent fortress around your financial future.
But let me be blunt. The gap between these two timelines is permanent. Once you fall behind the exponential curve of this technology, catching up becomes mathematically impossible.
It does.
The people who secure their positions in the next 24 months will own the infrastructure of the new economy. To get on the correct timeline, you need a violent shift in your mindset. You have to kill your ego.
Being a narrow specialist is no longer a virtue. The future belongs entirely to the agile generalist. You must become completely platform agnostic and outcome obsessed.
Right.
Stop asking how you can do a specific task better. Start asking how you can design a system that does this task without you.
That means viewing AI not as a neat tool you use occasionally to fix a typo, but as your primary, tireless workforce. You are the CEO of your own digital enterprise, even if you are just a W-2 employee right now. You need to think about outsourcing your cognitive labor to the machine. Just like a massive corporation outsources its physical manufacturing. You are allocating cheap compute power to solve expensive problems.
Let's give everyone a practical framework to execute this immediately. Let's use a real-world example. Imagine you run a local e-commerce logistics hub.
Okay.
Instead of manually reading emails from suppliers, downloading PDFs, typing data into Excel, and typing out replies, you build a system.
Right. First, you conduct a ruthless audit. Identify the repetitive cognitive process. In this case, it's extracting order data from emails. Second, you map those specific processes to specialized AI tools.
Exactly. You use a no-code automation platform like Zapier, which acts as a digital tripwire catching the incoming email. Then you route the text to a language model. The language model isn't writing poetry, it's just extracting the tracking numbers and delivery dates. Third, you build a closed-loop system. The language model sends that structured data directly into your Google Sheet and simultaneously drafts a personalized confirmation reply in your outbox.
Think of it like hiring a digital sous chef. The AI preps all the ingredients, chops the vegetables, and organizes the kitchen. All you have to do is the final plating and quality check.
That's a great analogy.
Fourth, you package this entire system and apply it directly to high-leverage industries. You apply it to commercial real estate, corporate finance, or e-commerce. You aren't selling the software, you're selling the fact that the business owner gets 20 hours of their week back.
But you need the right infrastructure to learn how to build these complex systems. You cannot learn this by endlessly scrolling through random disconnected video tutorials.
No, absolutely not.
It's an absolute waste of time, and time is the one asset you are currently hemorrhaging. You need structured, sequential training to bridge the gap between theory and execution.
Which is exactly why you have to invest your capital in verified high-density learning environments. If you want to survive, you need platforms that actually keep pace with market velocity.
Right.
We use Skillshare for this exact reason. They have specific high-level courses on AI, workflow automation, advanced prompting logic, and system architecture. We've put the official verified links in the pinned comment below. Don't go searching randomly and get scammed. Use the ones we've checked.
It's direct, highly practical instruction from people who are actually building in the trenches every day. It bridges the gap instantly. You learn the automation framework on a Tuesday, and you deploy it for a paying client on a Wednesday.
The required knowledge is sitting right there. The tools are significantly cheaper than they have ever been in human history. The barrier to entry has never been lower, but the cost of ignorance has never been higher. Time is the only non-renewable asset on your personal balance sheet.
That's the truth.
Every day you continue trading it for tasks a machine can do for pennies, you are actively eroding your future. Step out of the execution layer. Become the architect of your own systems. Reclaim your leverage. Don't let the future leave you behind. Start earning.